before God and my family, I'm announcing that I'm running for President of the United States of America.
I intend to seek the Republican nomination for President of the United States in 2024, and I want your support.
Welcome back to America Decides. That was Mike Pence and Chris Christie. They're among the latest Republicans who think they have what it takes to defeat President Biden in 2024. So what does the president's reelection campaign think of this burgeoning GOP field? Texas Democratic Congresswoman Veronica Escobar joins us now. She is also the Biden campaign's 2024 co-chair. Hello, Congresswoman. Thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
So it's been a busy day and week, frankly, on the Republican side of the aisle. You've had several Republicans jump into the race, most notably Chris Christie and Mike Pence. What does a large GOP field mean for the president and his reelection efforts?
You know, it doesn't change the strategy for the president or for the campaign. He's going to continue to do everything he can to uplift the American people, talk about the great work that he's done alongside with Congress, while the Republicans duke it out and figure out who their nominee will be.
Does the Biden campaign assume that former President Trump is going to be the Republican nominee? Is that your working assumption right now?
To be candid, we are not assuming anything. I mean, it's in politics and in campaigns, anything can change. Anything can happen from one day to the next.
How's the Biden campaign handling the candidacy of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is running as a Democrat? What would it take? Under what circumstances would President Biden be willing to debate RFK Jr.?
President Biden is the Democratic nominee. And the DNC, as it has done years and years in campaigns and campaigns before, has endorsed the incumbent. And from our perspective, President Biden is the incumbent. He is the nominee.
Paint a picture for us, if you will, of what the Biden campaign is going to look like this summer. The president hasn't been out on the campaign trail yet. Will we see him on the trail later this summer? Where will we see him?
Nancy, as you all have reported, we've been dealing with a number of issues here on Capitol Hill. Until last week, we were working on averting a catastrophe to our economy with what the House Republicans were trying to do by defaulting on our debt. And thanks to President Biden's great leadership, we averted that crisis. So he's been doing the work of governing and leading our nation both here and abroad. He's going to continue to do that. And I know at some point very soon, he will get out on the campaign trail.
Speaking of that debt deal, the Biden campaign recently began running ads capitalizing on the deal. Why is a deal that cuts spending a good topic for the president and the campaign to be talking about?
What's important for the American people to realize and recognize is the House of Representatives is controlled by Republicans. There was going to have to be a deal cut at some point. And House Republicans, as we saw in their Default on America Act, are intent on basically unraveling all of the gains that the administration has made. The president, through his leadership, was basically able to preserve all of the key components of landmark historic legislation and talk Republicans off the edge from defaulting on our national debt and our obligations. That's a huge win for the American people. And the fact of the matter is, President Biden was able to bring people together to avert more catastrophic cuts that Republicans intended to make.
Switching gears, I want to ask you about a piece of legislation that you have introduced with your Republican colleague, Salazar of Florida. It's called the Dignity Act. It combines border security with some new legal pathways to citizenship. Why do you think that legislation can pass a Republican-controlled House when Republicans are having enough trouble passing Republican pieces of legislation right now?
Nancy, there are Republicans in the House who want to truly address what's happening, not just at our nation's border, but beyond. There are some reasonable moderates that I am trying to work with, chiefly with my colleague, Representative Maria Salazar, who understands that the best way to have a well-managed border is through comprehensive immigration reform combined with border security. We also understand that our nation needs a robust workforce. The business community understands this, and my hope is that those of us who truly want to address the lack of action from Congress, in fact, it's been over 30 years since Congress has passed comprehensive immigration reform, that we know it's our obligation to address what's happening, not just at our nation's borders, but beyond. So I think there's a path there. I'm optimistic about the path there, not just in the House, but in the Senate. And it's our duty to make every attempt to make this happen.
Certainly, there are a lot of Americans who hope that Congress can tackle this issue in a responsible way. Congresswoman Escobar of Texas, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Nancy.